Hello, this is Courtney with C. Clark Creative. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I have a couple cards I'm putting together today. Last week I showed how I put together my swatches of the new to me Altenew watercolor brush markers in the Winter Wonderland set and the Artist Watercolor tin. So this week I am using the Altenew Paint a Flower Spider Moms stamps to create a couple cards, one using the watercolor brush markers, one using the artist watercolors. So what I'm doing for easy watercoloring is I emboss the flower image onto some watercolor paper, which I have Canson watercolor paper here. So I stamp, generally when I'm heat embossing 3 times, just because I'm on the watercolor paper and it is textured. I am using the smoother side, but there still is a bit of texture. Use my anti-static powder tool and then use VersaMark. I stamp 3 times and then I'm using Ranger Black Embossing Powder to get a nice black outline for these cards. So what I do here is I'm heating up letting my heat tool warm up while I'm using a brush to clean off spare bits of embossing powder. That helps get my Wagner heat tool super hot so that the embossing is really quick and easy. So now you can see the 2 cards right here where the one on the left is a bit thicker. That's just the card shifted a little bit in my stamping. Ended up with a thicker line, but that's not an issue. That's something I can totally work with. So I'm just going to proceed and not restamp my card. So I'm just going to put some music on here for you and just kind of let you see how I watercolor. So here I'm using my Ornate banner die from Pinkfresh Studio just to frame out this flower a little bit, and then I will be putting this onto a white card base cut from Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock that is 110 pound if I'm remembering right. And then this other panel, I'm just trimming it down a little bit to be basically 1/4 of an inch if I remember right, smaller than an A2 card base. And I will have a black background on this just to frame out this flower image a little bit. So here I've pulled out the Spider Moms stamp set again and trying to decide which sentiment I'm wanting, and I want to keep this essentially 1-layer card, just this flower layer and its backing piece if so. So I pull out the Life is Beautiful stamp set and pull out the Life is Beautiful stamp. It fits perfectly. So I just use that. I use a bit of repositionable adhesive just to help hold my card in place. Just making sure I've got my alignment well. And then I'm stamping this with VersaFine black ink. I lightly tap just to make sure I don't distort the image by squishing on the stamp, and then set that aside to let dry because this is a pigment ink, which is going to take a little bit longer to dry than a regular dye ink. So I have ink on that stamp, so just to make sure I don't transfer any, I put a piece of spare acetate down while I'm aligning the sentiment over my second card. Get that placed, and then I can remove that piece of acetate, which you can see there is some ink transfer on it, so it's a good thing I used it, and then stamp this sentiment as well. I'm using Distress Collage Medium to adhere these cards down. They have a little bit, because they are watercolor, and I did use a fair bit of water, especially on this blue background card. So what I'm going to do is adhere these card bases, and then I'm going to put my Misti stamp platform over the top while they dry, just to help them dry nice and flat. And here we go, the completed cards. Simple watercolor. I love the vibrancy of these Altenew watercolors. They are so pretty. They're fun to play with. And I thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.